Hello viewers, this is an analysis of a block clearance from an amateur athlete. Watch and listen as I outline what I see and what can be done to correct the faults. Looking here at the on your mark position, there isn't many things that's wrong. Both her elbows line up with both knees. So this position here, elbows lining up with the knees. That is a simple indicator of a decent position. What does look off is her thigh and chest. You can see it looks a little bit tight, too close together. And the angle of her shin, her front shin here, needs to be angled parallel to the track. That would be a better position. Let's see what effect all this has when she comes up to the set. Come up to the set position. Just focusing on the block and feet. You can see the problem with both. Well, actually the block pad angles are just way too high. Yeah, they're just way too high. These are the gill starting blocks, and they look like the fusion model, which can be set at 30, 40 and 60 degrees. She has both pads set at 60 degrees, which is way too high to be able to adequately, it's not adequate for her limb lengths. The negative consequences of this is an obtuse angle in both legs. You can see here, it's quite obtuse. And most importantly, with the legs at this angle, she's not going to be able to create the elastic band action to come out of the blocks as explosively as she can. Now for her first movement from the blocks, the back foot does, let's see what happens to the back foot. The back foot does a natural reflex action of moving back and then forward. But since there's too much of a separation between her heel and the pad, this movement couldn't be completed as quickly as possible. So I'll just show you. See, if you look here, it's not completely, the foot is not completely on the pads. You can just slightly see here. See, it has to go back. So it should be like this from the start, right on the pads. So she needs to keep her heels on the pads until she takes off. The angle of her hips and head, it's not too bad. You may want it just a little bit flatter because her hips are too high. Next movement is driving out to make first contact. Let's have a look at this. You can see the breaking of the hips here. The hips and torso are not in one direction. We prefer from here to the head to be one direction like this. Now remember, the knees don't fully lock straight. But we need a better line here, not a breaking at the waist. So we know definitely she's losing power here because of this angle. So for you apprentice coaches, make sure to always observe the first 2 to 4 steps, because athletes need to be driving horizontally rather than creating a cyclical action. So what I mean by that, you can see if I draw, see this is a cyclical action, and you will see the back leg make that loop cyclical action, that shape. We don't want that shape. Let's see if she does it in the second step. Same shape. We don't want this shape. We want a horizontal. An action that feet come straight out forward like this. This is a very common error, the cycling of the leg out of the blocks. So from here, now let me look at her arm action. See, more often than not, it's a strength and power and neuromuscular thing when you observe lack of power in the arm swing. You can see here, that doesn't look powerful to you, right? That arm action. So here's my recommendations. The obvious change is the pad angles. You can start at the universal standard, which is 90 degrees for the front leg and about 120 degrees at the back. Then you can tweak to exactly suit the person. So in her case, you just tweak it to suit herself. The angle of her front block shin angle should be corrected when she set up her blocks correctly. From the start line, or when she positions the pads angles appropriately. So it should naturally become better if she sets up her block properly from the start line, and then when she positions the pads properly at 90, 120 and so on. 2 drills that she can do to elicit a horizontal drive in the first few steps instead of cycling are falling starts. The athlete must fall forward as much as possible to force the horizontal leg action. Now this action can be scary for some athletes at first. So if the athlete shows too much hesitation or fear, then choose the second drill. The second drill is heel runs. The gradient just needs to be high enough to force the horizontal or the piston-like action of the foot. This drill is simpler than the falling start. And the good thing about it is it's almost impossible to cycle the legs in this position, so it's very effective exercise. Talk to you again soon.